Hello and welcome to Big Deal. Today we have a special panel from Mergers Alliance, which is, remember, a congregation of 20 firms in the M&A space across 25 countries. And today it's Singhi Advisors from India, mid-market cross-border M&A specialist firm, which is hosting all these companies here in India in Mumbai. And let me introduce the various members right here. Singhi Advisors is also, celebrating the 25th anniversary today. So many congratulations to Singhi Advisors. And we have chosen out of the 20 firms that have been present and part of Mergers Alliance, the 5 top ones, of course, India included, and USA, Germany, UK and Japan. These are the most active and the highest level as far as M&A traction from India is concerned. So let's chat about how the M&A is going to develop with each of these countries and how we are going to really take it forward. Gentlemen, so good to have you here with us on CNBC TV 18. Let's start with Mahesh then. Many congratulations for the 25th anniversary. And how is attraction really developing in the mergers and acquisition space? We've seen quite a few deals, but with the equity markets really heating up, is it really going to be a dampener on the deal street?
Yes and no, both. When the equity market goes up, it always have a problem for valuations for M&A. But as you said, nothing is easy in this world. You have to create your own deals. So one impact is when the equity market goes up, valuation goes up. So companies become more acquisitive. So that compensates for the loss of seller.
So let me then take it to Phil, who comes from the United States of America. Phil, we have discussed a lot about Trump victory. Was this a surprise really coming in? And is it really uncertain now as far as the economy is concerned?
It was certainly a surprise.
Yes.
He is a personality that ran without any policies. So we don't really know what he stands for in terms of what's next. But it's interesting that the market actually went up after his election.
Of course, across the globe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is a really interesting reaction. I mean, people think when Obama got elected, it went down 5.5% the first time, went down 2.5% the second time. But here it just got overnight. It went down 750, 800 and came all the way back. So we'll see. I think there's a lot of uncertainty, but the power of that office tends to bring people down from their boastful saying.
You know, U.S. markets are the deepest markets. Any Indian company would love to have funding coming in from the United States of America. But in the last few years, we haven't seen many strategics making their way here. We have some funds, definitely. Some of the Indian companies have shown interest, especially in pharma sector. IT is definitely, it is the biggest market for us, the Indian IT services. But how do you see the interest? Is it coming back with also Modi making many rounds to the U.S. in the past few years?
Nisha, I think that it is, but you have to start in the U.S. market, which is so big. And we had the crisis in 2008. And then we had this close down of deals. Nothing happened for a long time. There's a natural supply of deals that need to come every year. The U.S., people don't talk about it, but it is an aging economy as well. About 80% of all of our private company CEOs are over age 56, and they need to sell their businesses. And so when the market was closed, those deals didn't happen. And when it reopened, interest rates were low, funding was cheap, and there was this big backlog. And so what do you do when you're in the U.S.? You go to what's closest, and you buy it up until valuations get so high, as Mahesh said, and then you have to go find growth elsewhere. It's a very natural cycle situation. So while that was going through, you had the stuff that Modi did that has made a big difference. And you do see it in the private equity business. I mean, there are only 11 external private equity investments in India in 2013, and there were 85 in 15. So it just seems to be a market that is starting to get mature.
Yeah.
And if there's anything different about this M&A cycle than any other one I've had in my career, it's the level of due diligence requirements now are a permanent change since the cycle. And this has been a very difficult country to complete that diligence process, and it's getting much, much easier.
Is it?
I think so. The level of inquiry we have is quite high. We can talk sectors later, but there is a lot of stuff going on right now between us and your country.
So Japan is another important market for India, Sean. So do you think the cases like Daiichi, Ranbaxy, Tata Docomo, they have really dampened the spirit when it comes to Indian investments by Japanese companies, or is that improving now?
Yes, about the Ranbaxy incident, at that times it had a very bad just connotation, and a lot of the Japanese companies just thought twice or considered twice before coming here. But that memory is gradually fading away. And now people start just understanding after China, India should have the best business opportunities.
All right, so much more positive
Much
sentiment.
more positive.
And we are going to see much more traction. So I'll talk about the sectors coming back, but to the UK market, of course, Keith, we've seen like cultures have been similar with many Indians over there in the UK. But post-Brexit, is there a big difference in the kind of associations that we may see? Is it a wait-and-watch strategy by most of the companies, or is it business as usual?
I think taking Brexit as a specific, at the moment, we think it's pretty much business as usual. The UK economy has come out robust. We're not seeing any signs. We know inflation is coming, but if we can manage that positively, then some inflation in the market is good. So I think people are positive about the opportunity, and I think India is absolutely a territory that I think will get more attention from the UK than perhaps it has previously because of Brexit.
Despite Vodafone taxation?
Well, I mean that's a mega deal. I mean I think if you take it down into the sort of the real commercial world, shall we say, then.
But Vodafone is still pumping in money here. $7 billion.
Substantially.
Substantially, having raised nothing from Indian markets, even though IPO has been already announced.
But the fact is, the tax was not paid.
Yes.
It's actually correct position. The tax was not paid.
That is still sub judice.
I don't. It's certainly if I think about it from a UK perspective, it isn't something that's part of a strategic decision around the board table that we're sitting around. You know, people don't sit there and talk about India and say, let's talk about Vodafone before we talk about the commercial realities of whether it's a good strategic plan for their business or not, as to whether India is the right territory or somewhere else is. So it's a headline thing, I think, rather than something that really impacts on people's decision making.
All right, so that's a big statement that it doesn't really affect the business decisions. If you have a strategic investment, then that will not really stop because of one tax issue that's going on between the two companies. All right, so coming to Germany, a brighter spot in the European market, and I'm sure India would like to have more associations. We have some of the companies now, Erwin, we have Bharat Forge, Motherson Sumi, as well as Endurance, many others, and your engineering focus and that strength that really comes to the table could be really very valuable for some of the Indian companies.
I think this is a huge opportunity for India as well. They are trying to pick up technology assets which are in the hand of these older CEOs, and we have fantastic technology. It's still pretty regional, at the lower end, and this is available for Indian companies. There are no restrictions whatsoever in acquiring a company, and you can see that Bharat Forge and Sumi Motherson and Emetech, who have been serial acquirers in the market. Just to pin some examples, there's also Mahindra and others. They have done very well. I remember the first time when Bharat Forge came to see us when I was still at Citigroup in the 90s. This was a 60 million company. Today they're the same size as ThyssenKrupp's automotive supply business, a multi-billion company. The same applies for Sumi. So there's a huge opportunity for entrepreneurial Indian companies to buy up technology, get into not only technology but also access to the OEMs worldwide, and become a supplier of the global supply chain, to Airbus, to Daimler, to Volkswagen, to whoever you pick them. That's a huge opportunity.
Oh, yes.